You're listening to GWP Live Severe Weather Coverage. It is Thursday evening, April 23rd, 2026, and it is now 10 p.m., or it's almost 10 p.m. here, and we are tracking some of the ongoing severe storms that we have across the state of Missouri that have now started to move into our viewing area. And so, first off, I just want to start off by saying that yes, in today's weather update, I did mention that the likelihood of going live this evening was pretty low, but I will say that I will go ahead and say that we have had some storms that have really started to develop within the last few hours, a little bit stronger than what was forecasted across the viewing area. And so then that is now part of the reason why we decided to go ahead and go live this evening anyways. I will say that at midnight, we will be doing a hard deadline for midnight. Midnight will be the cutoff for tonight's live stream. So this live stream will not go any later than midnight, even if the severe storms do. So I just want everybody to kind of know that in advance. But let's go ahead and get into that severe weather that we have. So here's our current radar. So the majority of our storms are in our northwestern counties at this point in time. But we are starting to get those storms into our western counties as well. So eventually these storms will move in during the overnight hours across Nevada. But currently our storms are up around the Kansas City metro area. So let's go ahead and get a closer look. I will say the good news is these storms have been on a weakening trend. So that, of course, is positive. When they were out in Kansas, we did have some rotation. There was a few confirmed tornadoes out in Kansas as well as Oklahoma. But now as these storms are starting to move into our viewing area, they are losing some of that punch, if we call it that. So let's go ahead and look at this warning here just to the east of Kansas City. This is really the main warning that's in our viewing area right here in this area. So we've got Clay, Ray, Carroll, Lafayette, Jackson, and Johnson counties under a severe thunderstorm warning that actually just expired. Okay, that one has just expired. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. That was our main threat with that storm. But again, this warning has just expired as of 10 p.m. And then the warning for Overland Park and Lee Summit has also expired. So that's some really good news here. The latest updates show that these warnings have expired, but again, still looking at some pretty strong winds around the Oak Grove and Green Valley area. These will soon be pressing into Warrensburg and Odessa. You're going to be next in line. Odessa starting to get in on some of those stronger storms. So again, we're still going to be watching these storms. We're also going to be watching these here across northeastern Kansas, just to the southwest of Kansas City. These will start to make their way into Cass and Bates County. We've even got a little portion of Cass County that is under this warning. This goes for Miami, Lynn, and Johnson counties in Kansas, and then Cass County in Missouri. Severe thunderstorm warning right here, this polygon right here, and that goes in effect until 10:15. Our main concern is going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is a radar indicated threat. We also are going to be looking at some quarter-size hail. So again, some strong winds and some hail. That's going to be our primary hazards with this particular storm. So let's see, we just got a new update here. So we just recently, within the last 10 minutes, I would say, a severe thunderstorm watch was issued for. Let's go ahead and show you that here. This is the new severe thunderstorm watch. It's further to the south of where we had the previous warnings. Okay. Let's go ahead and show you. And so here was the previous severe thunderstorm watch. This one goes for Kansas City. This remains in effect until midnight. And again, we're still dealing with some storms there across that region, continuing to press eastward. We've also got a tornado watch here in the yellow. That's across Kansas. And this goes for it goes until 11 p.m. So until 11 p.m., severe thunderstorm watch, southeast Kansas, also into central Oklahoma, including Oklahoma City. This is where we have currently some ongoing storms across that region as well. So a few severe storms in northern Oklahoma. We've got a couple of storms moving into southeast Kansas. These will start to make their way into southwest Missouri within the next hour or two. So Joplin, you're going to be in line. And then again, Nevada and Fort Scott will soon be in the next round here, as a new severe thunderstorm watch was just issued until 4 a.m. So let's see, we've got Joplin. Springfield is not included in this one. Nevada is included in this watch, and then that goes all the way up to the north as well. So again, we're looking at Nevada, a portion of Stockton Lake. We've got Collins, we've got Lamar, we've got Carthage, we've got all the way into far southwestern Missouri, even northwestern Arkansas is under this new watch. So a decent sized area under this new severe thunderstorm watch that is an extension off of the previous one, and that remains in effect until 4 a.m. So again, new severe thunderstorm watch that does include our southwestern counties, including Nevada, Carthage, and Joplin, new severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until 4 a.m. And then that previous watch that goes for Kansas City, Warrensburg, and Clinton and Harrisonville, that watch remains in effect until until midnight. So again, severe thunderstorm watch, northern counties, midnight, 4 a.m. for our southern counties. And then we do still have in central Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas a tornado watch that remains in effect until 11 p.m. So that's really our current risk area that we are concerned about. Okay, we just had some new information that came into us. A brand new severe thunderstorm warning was issued, and it does include a few of our counties. This goes in Kansas for Miami, Lynn, and Johnson counties. So it's an extension off of this warning right here. But it also goes for Cass, Bates, and Jackson counties in the state of Missouri. So we've got northern Bates County now under a severe thunderstorm warning here. This goes for 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. At 10:01 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Belton to 6 miles west of Drexel to 7 miles north of Blue Mound. These storms were moving east at 40 miles per hour. Again, our main hazards include 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. Locations impacted include Overland Park, Lee Summit, Leawood, Grandview, Belton, Raymore, Harrisonville, Pleasant Hill, Peculiar, Pleasanton, Mound City, and several others. This also includes Interstate 49 between mile markers 143 and 179. It does also include US 69 just to the south of Overland Park in Kansas as well. So those are some of the more major highways that are going to be included in this new warning. Storms have already moved through the Kansas City area. We've still got some heavy showers and storms. In fact, let's go ahead and show you the radar in Kansas City. So again, some pretty heavy rainfall ongoing in the KC metro area, especially in the southern portion of the region. Because of some of these storms, we are now under a flood advisory for the Kansas City metro area. So, urbanized communities and small stream flooding is going to be possible as we go through this evening. So, urbanized flooding, that's going to be our main concern for the southern portion of the KC metro, where we have seen just quite a bit of rainfall within the last couple of hours. And it does not take a lot, especially if it happens within 30 minutes or an hour, that can really elevate that flood risk. The ground is not able to absorb the moisture as fast as it's falling, especially when the ground is already so saturated from all of the precipitation that we've had the last few days. And so that makes a really big difference. And so that's why we've got these flood advisories. We've also got street flooding possible because there is no soil to absorb that moisture. And so that's when drainage becomes an issue there in the Kansas City area. So understand that we have that flood risk continuing until at least 2 a.m. flood advisory in the Kansas City metro area, and we're still picking up some very heavy rainfall. So intense rainfall rates are going to be expected with this particular system as it continues to move through here. So that's what we're dealing with in Kansas City. And then just to the south of that, we have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that we were just talking about that has now been issued for Jackson, Cass, and Bates counties on the southern side of Kansas City. And our main risk is going to be the 60-mile-per-hour winds. If we're talking about winds over 58 miles per hour, that is considered the threshold for severe. And when you hit that severe threshold, we're talking about tearing down trees, uprooting them, and then also the possibility of ripping off shingles. Those are just some of the impacts that we can get when we have wind speeds anywhere from 60 to 70 to 75 miles per hour. In this case, 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's going to be the main concern as we go forward in time across this region. So that's something we're watching across the area. All right, let's go ahead and kind of widen this out, show you kind of a more regional view of what we're dealing with. So again, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings on the southern side of Kansas City in our viewing area. We've got some storms just to the west and a little bit to the south of the viewing area. And so that's something that we're watching at this time. Okay, so we got a flash flood warning there in Oklahoma as well. So again, still some storms there. And then we're still watching severe storms across southern Iowa as well. We've got a couple of warnings out for that. We're looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds with that warning. There's also a tornado possible tag. So watch out if you are south of Interstate 80, just to the southeast, or well, I guess pretty far to the southeast of Des Moines. So watch out for that. And then we got a storm east of Cedar Rapids. That one, tornado possible tag with that one as well. And then even into Wisconsin, we've got a few warnings for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So let's see, all three of these are for 60-mile-per-hour winds. There is not a tornado possible tag for any of these. So let's go ahead and kind of show you what we're dealing with across the northern section of the area. So these right here are not tornado possible. These right, or let's take that back. These right here are not tornado possible. These are. These are the concern. Those two severe thunderstorm warnings have a tornado possible tag, so we're going to be watching that. The ones to the north in Wisconsin do not. So that is what we're going to be watching for across that region. And then we've also got this warning in northern Missouri. This is along US 36 to the northeast of Kansas City. And then this one does not have a tornado possible tag either. So again, overall, tornado risk is going to be pretty low, especially as we get later into this evening, but we are still going to be watching for those 60-mile-per-hour winds. That is why we do have that warning now for Bates and Cass counties, and that includes the Harrisonville area. In fact, let's look at so again, Overland Park, Lee Summit, Grandview, Belton, Raymore, Harrisonville, Pleasant Hill. Those are the areas under that warning. That warning goes in effect until 10:45. And then some additional storms ongoing at this time across northern Oklahoma. We're currently doing pretty good across central and southern Oklahoma. This is the furthest extent to the south of our storms. So that is definitely some good news there at this point in time. So nothing too bad here sticking out at this point on the radar. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into a brief intermission. We will return in about 3 or 4 minutes. You're listening to GWP Live. We will see you back here in just a moment. All right, we are back here with GWP Live severe weather coverage here. It's Thursday, April 23rd, and we're still tracking some ongoing storms in our northwestern counties. We're looking at the risk of some 60-mile-per-hour winds within the last 15 minutes of this live stream since we started things this evening. We haven't had any reports of any damage, any strong wind gusts, so that, of course, is good news that nothing has been confirmed at this point in time. We did have some wind concerns earlier this evening. We had some wind reports that were coming in from the Kansas City area. I'm just going to go ahead, and since we don't have any new warnings, we're just going to read through some of these, see what we've been dealing with here. In Wyandotte County, Kansas, we had a 67-mile-per-hour wind gust, so that's close to the Kansas City area. We also had in Plate County, Missouri, we had a wind gust of 59, another one of 65. In downtown Kansas City, in Clay County, Missouri, we had a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust. That was from an ASOS station, so pretty reliable report there. We had two 61-mile-per-hour wind gusts. One was about an hour ago. It was at 8:59, and then the other one was at 9:06. At 9:08 in Jackson County, we had a 69-mile-per-hour wind gust. At 9:28 in Linwood, which is in Leavenworth County, Kansas, which is very close to Kansas City, we had a tree down that was blocking both lanes of travel. At 9:30 in Plate Woods in Plate County, tree down and cable service lines blocking road. Around the Kearney area, 67-mile-per-hour wind gust. So this was all within the last hour and a half, but nothing really recent. The most recent damage report that we had was at 9:51 p.m. This is the last one that we had from the Storm Prediction Center, and this was from Kearney, Missouri, around Clay County, Missouri, around the Kearney area. In fact, we'll just go ahead and pull up here. So kind of in that area. And so again, large and small limbs were down. There was a partial unfinished building that had a wall that collapsed because of some of the stronger winds. Now, some people immediately think that that might be a tornado. It's very unlikely. It's possible. I'm not going to rule it out, but that sounds more like straight line wind. Anytime that we're talking about a singular wall, especially when it's not very sturdy to begin with, because it was a partially unfinished building. So that tells me that it was probably straight line wind that came through, most likely. But again, survey teams, they go out and they survey the damage. They see what sort of damage we had. Was it straight line winds? Did we have a tornado? How strong was the tornado? They base it off of the damage. And so, of course, they'll go back through and they'll do that, and we'll see if anything comes of that. But again, as of right now, I highly doubt that any of the storms that we've had, at least in the Kansas City metro area, I highly doubt any of those have produced tornadoes. And so that's kind of where we're at this point in time. So also, let's go ahead and give you an update on a few other things too. We did a live stream here on Friday evening, April 17th. We had a brief interruption as unfortunately I was not able to continue the live stream as I had to take shelter. Columbia, Missouri was under a tornado warning, so that became a very quickly developing situation. I was hoping to send out a message before the live stream cut, but of course we were live and we were dealing with some interference from the storms, and so that just didn't end up becoming possible in that moment there. But again, we are hoping in the future, if that were to happen, where Columbia went under a tornado warning, I am hoping to have our live stream continue through that. But of course, we have to do that in a safe way, and so we weren't able to do that last Friday. So again, we'll continue to make adjustments for that. But yeah, so we did some live coverage there Friday evening, and we talked about a bunch of radar indicated rotations. At one point, there was a confirmed tornado around Belton. I just wanted to read off all of the information that we have now after the fact, because again, a lot of stuff you don't necessarily hear right when it's live on the air. And so this is kind of almost like a storm recap of what we had on Friday, April 17th, because we did have a few tornadoes in the area. So let's go ahead and talk about those here. We had in Belton, Missouri, We had a tornado reported at Cass County, Missouri. We actually had a couple of reports of tornadoes. The first one said an intense line of thunderstorms moving across Miami County, Kansas into Cass County, Missouri through 5 p.m. resulted in an embedded circulation, which resulted in an EF1 tornado. So this occurred. Let's see, that would have been at 5:19 p.m. We had an EF1 tornado that was reported in Belton, Missouri. So we now know that it was EF1 damage. We had a secondary report at about 5:25 in Belton, public report of a tornado touchdown. So we had confirmed from the public at 5:25 that we had a tornado on the ground there in Belton, and of course now we know it was an EF1. And really our main concern on Friday was for EF1 tornadoes, and so that's what we saw across that area. Okay, let's see. We had a few of other tornado reports here in the state of Missouri, and we're going to do an overview in just a minute of how much severe weather we had overall that day. Here's some other information. In the state of Missouri, around Warsaw, Missouri, we had 2 tornado reports. A National Weather Service concluded an an EF0 tornado caused damage to a building on Highway 83 just to the southeast of Warsaw. This tornado is also reported to have damaged trees in the area. Okay, so that was around Wetumpkaville in Benton County, Missouri. An EF0 was confirmed. Also, around that same time at 7:24, the previous one was 7:23. At 7:24 in Benton County, Missouri, a National Weather Service survey concluded an EF1 tornado touchdown northwest of Warsaw, tracking at least as far east as Highway 65. The tornado flipped several mobile homes across the area. Okay, so at around 7 o'clock, an EF0 and an EF1 near the Warsaw area were reported on Friday night. So we had tornado in Belton that was an EF1, and we had both an EF0 and an EF1 in Warsaw at around 7 p.m. All right, let's go ahead and move this forward because that is not quite the end of it. At 7:44 p.m. on Friday night, around 7 miles southeast of Stover in Morgan County, Missouri, a National Weather Service team concluded an EF0 tornado caused debris from a barn and outbuilding to be thrown mainly east with some to the north near the beginning of the tornado. Okay, so we had that report. That was at 7:44. Then just 7 minutes later at 7:51, 2 miles north of Grovis Mills in Morgan County, a National Weather Service team found damage associated with a tornado that tracked north of Grovis Mills, Missouri. Several trees were uprooted in a cyclonic pattern. So that's the very important nature about this is the outbuild or that unfinished building that we had in the Kansas City area that had that wall blown out. It was just completely blown straight to the ground. The trees that were in this particular tornado report were in a circular motion, and so that indicates that there was rotation. So again, another tornado in EF0 in Morgan County around just before 8 p.m. on Friday night. Okay. Then at 7:59 around Barnett, Missouri in Morgan County, there was damage that was tracking north of Barnett. Damage included tree debris blown to the east and north, and as well as some metal rods. Then in Cole County, Missouri at 8:08 p.m., this was near Marion. A National Weather Service team found an EF0 tornado near the Missouri River northwestward through Hartsburg, ending near Fulton. Now, that is the storm that was tornado warned here in the Columbia area. So that tornado was on the ground at around 8 o'clock and it moved from the Missouri River to around the Fulton area. And so that was another tornado that we had, an EF0 tornado. And so we did have some rotation, and now we have confirmed that there was a tornado. Then at 8:09 p.m. in Hartsburg in Boone County, Missouri, there was some thunderstorm damage with 6 to 8 inches in diameter with tree branches that were down. And this storm was for The particular tree limbs that were broken near the base as well. So we have that, and then at 8:20 p.m. around Marion in Cole County, Missouri, we had some tree damage as well from a tornado, and then okay, so we also had the Fulton Airport. Part of a hangar roof was torn off at the Fulton Airport in Callaway County. That was at 8:33 is when that was reported. So, and then we had multiple other tornadoes in the state of Illinois. We also had an EF1 tornado in Warren County, Missouri, Franklin County, Missouri. There was also a tornado reported. And then we had additional damage reports from an EF1 in Lincoln County, Missouri, as well. So we had multiple tornado warnings. If we were to add up all our tornado reports, not even just warnings, but we had tornado reports across central Missouri. Here is how many tornado reports we had in the state of Missouri. We had one, two, three, four. There's more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15. We had 15 tornado reports in the state of Missouri on Friday. We had a couple near the Warsaw area. We had one in Belton. We had one near the Missouri River. And then we had a few others across eastern Missouri as well. Now, even though we had that many reports, that doesn't necessarily mean that we had that many tornadoes because a few of those reports were for the same tornado. But we had around 5 or 6 tornadoes across the northern half of Missouri on Friday from the severe storms. And so, again, a very active day for severe weather on Friday. Of course, we were covering it all evening long here on GWP severe weather coverage, but still quite an active day that we had on Friday. And so that is something that we're going to continue to watch as we go into the rest of the season to see if we have anything else. So again, this is what we've been preparing you for, the risk for severe storms, and we just now went through it on Friday, and then now we've got several days ahead where we're going to be looking at the possibility of some severe storms as well. All right, let's go ahead and get an update on some of the storms here. We just had a new flash flood warning that was issued on the southern half of Kansas City. So this doesn't include the downtown, but it's just to the south of the downtown area. This goes for Johnson County in Kansas and Jackson County in Missouri. This goes until 4:15 a.m. for Friday morning. So we've already picked up around 2 or 3 inches of rain. Another inch is going to be possible. So radar indicated threat. So again, southern Kansas City, Overland Park, Olathe, Lee Summit, and some other surrounding areas. So if you're anywhere in this red, darker red polygon area, that is where we're looking at the risk of some flooding. Again, it's mainly on the south side of Kansas City there. So watch out. We've already seen quite a bit of rainfall. Our severe weather threat has moved out of this area. It's mainly to the south and east of that area, but still something that we're going to be watching as we go through the evening hours. Let's go ahead and get an update on our warning to the south of that. We've got Miami, Lynn counties in Kansas, and then we've also got Cass, Bates, and Johnson counties still under this warning until 10:45. The latest update was at 10:22, where severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from Greenwood to 6 miles east of Drexel to near Mound City, moving east at 35 miles per hour. So Mound City, then we've got further to the east of that as well. So this is just to the west of Interstate 49 along Cass and Bates County. The storms have now started moving into Harrisonville. So Harrisonville, you're getting into this. Raymore, you just went through it. Pleasant Hill is next in line. So we've got Pleasant Hill, Harrisonville, Archie, down to Adrian, looking at the risk of some 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as some nickel-sized hail. But our main concern is going to be the possible damage that we could be looking at from the 60-mile-per-hour winds there across that region. So we're going to be watching that very closely. Let's go ahead and see our wind speeds here on the velocities. We'll start with the northern end of this velocity. Okay, so again, some pretty strong winds moving into Pleasant Hill, so we're watching that. Nothing too strong except for right here. That's a little bit concerning, kind of sticking out just to the west of Archie. Let's put that up with the radar. Okay, yeah, so we are getting what looks to be a little bit of rotation just to the west of Archie. I don't think we have a tornado, but if there was an area that we need to watch within the next, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes, it would be right in this area, and then really anywhere just to the east of that. So if you are in Archie, if you're in this Austin and Dayton and Garden City in Missouri, you need to be prepared for the possibility of some rotation, at the very least, some very strong winds, possibly upwards of around 60 to maybe even upwards of 70 miles per hour. So 60 to 70 mile per hour winds are going to be possible with these storms. And then again, there is even a little bit of rotation on this western side, or excuse me, to the west of Archie and Adrian on the leading edge there. A little bit of rotation, but at the very least, we've got some very strong winds. Really, same can be said as we go further towards the south of this area as well, into Hume and across the Foster area. Yeah, we've got some pretty strong winds here. This is looking pretty strong here in Prescott as well. So again, some very strong winds and even a little bit of upper level rotation just to the west of Archie. So again, we're going to be watching this very closely for that potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then again, maybe even a tornado. Currently, the warning does not say tornado possible, but I would certainly be watching this rotation just to the west of Archie, because rotation like this is how tornadoes begin. And these storms have already produced a couple of tornadoes earlier this evening in the state of Kansas, and now these storms are crossing the state line. And so that is the reason why we are going to need to continue to watch these storms very closely in the next couple of hours. But in the more immediate term here across Bates and Cass and Jackson counties, those are the areas that are under the immediate threat for those severe storms. All right, we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Bourbon County, which is just to the west of the Nevada area. Let's go ahead and, okay, we'll switch to the Springfield National Weather Service here, and we'll see what we're dealing with here. Nothing too strong popping out at this point, but again, still that risk for some pretty strong storms across that area. Again, Bourbon County in Kansas, that's the new area that's under the warning. That remains in effect until 11:15 at 10:23 p.m. Severe thunderstorms are located along a line from near Lynn Valley to near Prescott in Kansas. So we were just showing you Prescott not that long ago here. And so again, some pretty strong storms now moving into the Prescott area. So these storms are going to be moving towards Chanute as well. This warning for Bourbon County goes for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat, but again, you should certainly go inside to a more interior structure. Again, get away from windows. Anytime we're dealing with 60-mile-per-hour winds, you can get things that can break the windows, trees, debris, various different items. It can be very dangerous to be near windows, so the recommendation is to move away from windows if all possible there in that area. So again, that's for Bourbon County. Newly issued warning just to the west of Nevada in Bourbon County, including Fort Scott, until 11:15 p.m. this evening. All right, well, we are still live here. So again, if you're just tuning in, this is GWP Live Severe Weather Coverage. It is now about 10:30 p.m. here on this Thursday evening. We're still tracking some ongoing storms that are soon going to be making their way into the central portion of our viewing area. Our western counties are currently experiencing the effects here of these storms, and the heavy rainfall too. That's also going to be a really big concern. A lot of these areas are still very saturated from the storms that we've had over the last few days or the last few weeks rather. The last few days, of course, we've dried out, so that's going to help us a little bit, but still something that we're going to be concerned about, especially because we're going to be dealing with multiple days here of severe storms. This is really just the beginning here. We've got pretty much severe weather risk in the state of Missouri each and every day, stretching from Thursday all the way through Monday. That severe weather risk. As if you did watch today's GWP weather update that we released a few hours ago, then you'll know that tomorrow's severe weather threat is going to be along and south of Interstate 44. So we're not really concerned about that for most of our viewing area. But for the rest of you, severe threat remains in effect through tonight, and not only for tonight, but also going into this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We are going to be at risk for some of these severe storms. We've already got a couple of different warnings out for the area. This is a flash flood warning. warning right here where my cursor's at around Kansas City. That's a flash flood warning. So again, that's just one of the many risks that we're continuing to deal with out of tonight's storms. Let's go ahead and switch over to the reflectivity radar here. And so again, you'll notice that pretty strong storms moving just to the southeast of Kansas City. We did have a warning earlier this evening on these storms, the ones that are in Odessa right now, Blue Springs, Odessa, getting some pretty strong storms right there. But at this point in time, these are just strong thunderstorms. We don't necessarily have a warning for these particular storms, but you'll still want to watch those just to see if they do re-strengthen here in the hours to come here. So that is something we're going to be watching for there. Going to a more regional view here. So again, we're starting to get some warnings in southeastern Kansas. A few of these will be moving into Missouri very soon, so we're going to be watching that. Still staying pretty active here across northern Oklahoma as well. So I'm still going to be watching that here. That is what I would call a kind of suspicious looking storm just to the west of Stillwater there. So, and we do have 70-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball size hail with that storm. So that's a pretty big storm right now in northern Oklahoma. So the hazards are a little bit worse than what we're dealing with here in the state of Missouri, but still something that you want to watch there. Again, northern Missouri, looking pretty good at the moment. Some of these have been severe warned, but right now we're looking pretty good here across Chillicothe, extending down to Interstate 70. It's really south of Interstate 70. That's where the stronger storms are at right now. And then we do have a few storms here across the state of Iowa as well. So a couple of warnings there. Tornado possible tag with these warnings, particularly that northern, well, actually both of these. Yeah, both of these warnings have a tornado possible tag. So east of Des Moines, getting close to Iowa City and Cedar Rapids, severe storms moving in across the area. We've also got a few storms across southwestern Wisconsin and northeastern Iowa as well. And there is a tornado possible tag with those storms as well. So lots of storms that we're tracking this evening. We've got the ones in Iowa and Wisconsin. We've got now Missouri starting to get involved in this, and then even into Kansas and Oklahoma looking at that severe risk. When we go back to our watches, a tornado watch remains in effect here across central Oklahoma and northern Oklahoma, as well as parts of southeastern Kansas. This tornado watch remains in effect until 11 p.m. Okay, well, now it's been extended until wait a second. Okay, so the tornado watch. Okay, so a bit of a correction here. Tornado watch in Kansas, that remains in effect until 11 p.m. The tornado watch in Oklahoma remains in effect until 1 a.m. So just kind of a quick correction there. The watch here across Kansas and then into northern Missouri. This watch, including Kansas City, that remains in effect until midnight. And then same can be said for Iowa and yeah, Iowa's severe thunderstorm watch. This goes until midnight. So let's just go ahead and do this. Okay, so this watch right here in Iowa and including Kansas City, this watch goes until 12 a.m. All of this area right here, 12 a.m. is when that watch expires. So 12 a.m., that's our severe thunderstorm watches. Then recently, we had a new severe thunderstorm watch that was issued across southern Missouri, southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and northwestern Arkansas. This severe thunderstorm watch goes until 4 a.m. Now, as I mentioned previously in this live stream, we will not continue this live stream past midnight. The only scenario in which we would do that is if we had an active tornado warning or if we had a severe warning in Columbia. That's really the only reason why I would continue this live stream past midnight. But as of right now, I do not anticipate that happening. But anyway, so again, midnight across this area to the north, and then to the south, our severe thunderstorm watch until 4. This one right here in Kansas is until 11 p.m., and then this one in Oklahoma, this goes until 1 a.m. So that is the timeline. So 11, 12, 1, and 4. That is when our watches will be expiring. So again, we'll continue to watch these storms through the overnight hours. Again, you'll want to have a way to get the alerts here because, again, when you're talking about these overnight storms, a lot of people are sleeping, and so that becomes the danger with overnight severe storms. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning. We want to get to that here. New severe thunderstorm warning issued. This is an extension off of our one in Harrisonville. This goes for Lynn County in Kansas and still under the new warning. And then Cass. Okay. All right. We've got multiple new warnings that just were issued. Okay. All right. Okay, yes, let's get to this one first. All right, we've got Lynn County in Kansas. We've got Cass, Henry, Bates, and Johnson counties under a new severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15 p.m. At 10:30 p.m., a severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Pleasant Hill to 9 miles west of Butler to near Mound City, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. There is also a tornado possible tag with this newly issued warning for Bates, Cass, and Henry counties. And we just had a tornado warning that was just issued. So not only do we have a tornado possible tag, we now have a tornado warning. Okay, let's go ahead and get to that. Tornado warning was just issued for Cass, Henry, and Bates County until 11 p.m. At 10:32 p.m., severe thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado was located over Adrian, moving east at 50 miles per hour. This is a radar-indicated rotation. Locations impacted include Adrian, Archie, Yurch, Creighton, Blairstown, and Ballard. Those areas are under a brand new tornado warning until 11 p.m. This includes Interstate 49 between mile markers 139 and 148. That means if you are currently on Interstate 49 between 139 and 148, that's the mile markers. They're every 0.2 miles on interstates in the state of Missouri, so look to see where your mile marker is. We don't want you looking at your phone to see where this tornado is at. We want you looking at if you are in the warning. If you're on the interstate, look at your mile marker. Those are there for a reason. They're to tell you where you're at so that when these warnings are issued, you know if you're under the warning. And again, 139 to 148, that is the area that you do not want to be in. If you are between those mile markers, then you need to exit the interstate as quickly as possible and try to find a tornado safe place. What does that look like on the road? Well, if you get in a really desperate situation, that looks like a ditch. That's what we're talking about when you get in that sort of a situation. So, hopefully a better situation would be that you're able to go to a different location. But as of right now, northeastern Bates County, southeastern Cass County, and northwestern, really western Henry County is under a tornado warning. I know these areas have been under multiple tornado warnings over the last 7 to 10 days, but it does not become less serious every single time. Whether it's the first time all year or the 25th time all year, you need to take shelter. It doesn't matter how many warnings you've been under. It doesn't matter if you've already had a tornado. The fact is that you're under a tornado warning and you need to take shelter regardless of the situation. And so we'll go ahead and we'll go to the velocities here. We'll see where our rotation is at. Nothing too strong at the moment popping out for us, but here is that rotation just to the east of Interstate 49. So actually, if you're on the interstate, looks like this storm has already passed, but still, go ahead, find a safe place there. This goes for Archie and Adrian under a tornado warning. So please take shelter immediately if you are to the north of Butler. Again, Butler is not under this warning. So there's Butler. Here's Adrian. And then our possible rotation, as of right now, we're looking at some rotation just to the northeast of Adrian. Let's do a different color that you can actually see. There we go. To the northeast of Adrian, southeast of Archie. A little bit of rotation. I do not believe this is on the ground. I highly doubt this is on the ground, but it really doesn't matter if it is because it could become on the ground very soon. And so that's why you want to take shelter if you are in, as we mentioned, Cass, Henry, and Bates County. Okay, we just got a brand new update here. At 10:40 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Archie. Okay, well, there it is. As we've already kind of pointed out here, that's really the area that we're concerned about here, mainly in this area. And so near Adrian, moving east at 50 miles per hour. So that's going to be the trajectory here. So if you're in this area, please take shelter immediately. Again, we've got, okay, so there's that latest scan that we just got from the radar, again, showing that area of concern just to the east of Interstate 49. So again, please take shelter if you are in northeastern Bates, southeastern Cass, or western Henry County. This warning currently does not include Clinton. Again, Clinton, you are not under this warning, but it is just to the west of you, so you will want to continue to watch this very closely. Here's Clinton. Here's our warning. It cuts off right about there. Our severe thunderstorm warning goes to here, so you're just to the west of that right now. So again, there's Clinton, and then there's our rotation just to the northeast of Adrian, just to the southeast of Archie. A warning on this until 11 o'clock. All right. We also just had a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Nevada. So there's that warning for you. Okay, yeah, there it is across Vernon, and this also goes for St. Clair. Let's get the information on this here. Okay, new severe thunderstorm warning issued for Bourbon County, Kansas, and St. Clair in Vernon County, Missouri. This goes until 11:30 p.m. At 10:37 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from Adrian to near Hume to near Uniontown, moving east at 30 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. There is not a tornado possible tag with this warning. There is with the warning to the north. Okay, so this one does not have a tornado possible tag. This one does. And again, we also within that tornado possible tag have an area that is under a tornado warning. Going back to the severe thunderstorm warning in Vernon and St. Clair counties, this goes for Nevada, Fort Scott, Appleton City, Marmington, Walker, Shell City, Bernal, Moundville, as well as Richards and Deerfield. If you are in any of those areas, please take shelter immediately. Again, going inside is going to be your best bet. You don't have to go to the lowest floor or anything, but getting away from windows is certainly not a bad plan at this point in time there in Vernon, St. Clair counties. So Vernon and St. Clair counties in Missouri under a new severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect until 11:30 p.m. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning just to the north of that until 11:15 p.m., including Cass, Henry, Bates, and Johnson counties until 11:15. So our northern warning goes until 11:15. Our southern warning goes until 11:30. So that is what we're dealing with. In addition, within that northernmost warning, we do have a tornado warning until 11 p.m. Radar indicated rotation. Again, nothing has been confirmed yet, but we are still watching the potential for a rotation there in the area. Let's go ahead and go to the velocities as we just had an update that came in. So still nothing too strong, but just to the east of Interstate 49. We're still watching this here. This is south of Garden City. Looks like we've got a highway in here. I'm not exactly quite sure what that highway is, but so yeah, we do have a highway that's going to be affected by this. This is, yes, I'm not exactly familiar with that particular highway. It goes into Clinton. So a highway that goes from Clinton to Harrisonville, that's the one that we're looking at this point in time, that's under that warning. So the that would be Missouri State Highway 7. Okay, just found out. Missouri State Highway 7 is under this tornado warning, and the storm is just to the southwest of Highway 7. So there's Garden City, there's Creighton, there's Dayton, and then our rotation is, whoa, it's not that big. There is our rotation right in there around the Dayton area. So Dayton in Missouri, into that tornado warning. And again, the rotation is located in that area. So again, please take shelter if you are in Dayton, if you're in Creighton as well. And then this is just to the northwest of Clinton. So portions of Henry County under a tornado warning until 11 p.m. So that is what we're currently dealing with here across the state of Missouri. So again, things getting surprisingly very active here. I will say, this is not quite what I anticipated for this evening with our severe weather threat. I didn't even anticipate that we would be doing this live stream, but sometimes things do. Sometimes the atmosphere is able to overcome some of those roadblocks, and today we certainly have had that happen here. All right, let's go to a more regional view here. So again, Vernon, St. Clair, Bates, Henry, um, as well as Cass and Johnson counties. Those are our counties that are under warnings at this time. Everywhere else, you are perfectly fine. So if we have not mentioned you, that's a really good sign. That means that there's nothing to worry about. Like Lebanon, Springfield, Jeff City, Sedalia, Columbia, Lake of the Ozarks, perfectly fine. Now these storms are going to move into those areas later on, but yeah, so that's what we're going to be watching for as we go through just the next couple of hours. All right, since we don't have anything new, I will keep this on another device so that we can see if something occurs, and we'll come back to that immediately if it does. But let's go ahead and, okay, we'll look at a national view of what's going on. So again, northern Oklahoma, all the way through Iowa, even into southern Wisconsin, ongoing severe storms. That's going to continue through the rest of tonight. They will move into central Missouri. Other things that we're watching: flood watches across northern Michigan. So we've got that. Um, yeah, so we've got some fire danger here. We've got a fire weather watch, or a red flag watch, really means the same thing there. So we've got that ongoing across New Mexico and Texas. So that's something we're tracking. Red flag warnings in Colorado, so ongoing fire threat there on the western side of the dry line. And then we've even had some winter weather across Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, because why not? Why not have a little taste of all the different seasons here across the country? So that's what we're dealing with here. And okay, just getting new warning. Okay, nothing new at this time here. 60-mile-per-hour winds, still going to be our big concern, but there is that one tornado warning. Okay, now let's go here to the National Weather Service in Springfield. Let's look at their weather story. So again, most of our western counties, the severe thunderstorm watch goes until 4 a.m. Again, we're still watching winds, damaging winds. That's going to be our main concern. But a few tornadoes are going to be possible. The risk is pretty low, but we already have a tornado warning in effect here across the area. Here is that severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So again, our western counties, really the areas that are dealing with the storms right now, that's going to be our highest risk. These storms will move into central Missouri into the wee hours of Friday morning, but once that starts to happen, these storms are going to begin to fall apart. But again, I cannot emphasize enough that our primary hazard is for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. But again, we still do have that risk for hail and then maybe even a brief tornado. It's still going to be a risk, but it's much lower than our wind risk. And so that is the good news on that. Timing of our storms. And so again, it just really depends on where you're at. If you're in our southern counties, like south of Interstate 44, you're going to have severe weather tomorrow. Everywhere else, it's going to end later tonight. In fact, here is that severe weather risk for Friday. So again, along and south of Interstate 44, we do have that marginal risk, and this doesn't include the storms that we're going to have during the morning hours. So this is for a separate severe weather threat that we're going to have tomorrow night. But again, most of the day on Friday is going to be clear everywhere else, but we are still going to have some chances. And into the weekend, again, we've just got severe weather risk pretty much every single day. As of right now, I am most concerned when it comes to our severe weather threat about Sunday afternoon and evening and Monday afternoon. As of right now, just based on what we're looking at from the Storm Prediction Center, based on where our storm system is going to be, some of the ingredients that are forecasted to come together, because we are still several days out, there are a few things that could change between now and then. But as of right now, I feel like that Sunday and Monday the risk is going to be a little bit up there. So that's something we're going to be watching very closely. So please be prepared for severe weather on Sunday and especially on Monday in central Missouri. Western Missouri Sunday looks to be the higher threat, but on Monday, central Missouri becomes the main concern. In fact, let's show you here. So here's today's risk. We'll go back to that in a moment here, but I want to show you. So there's tomorrow. Again, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. A lot of this is going to be to our south, but we're going to be watching that tornado risk. Nothing for the state of Missouri. So, I mean, there's never really such thing as a zero risk, but this is about as close to zero as you can get. Wind, not going to be too bad. I think hail is really going to be our higher risk that we're going to be dealing with. Up to 2-inch hail is going to be possible across Texas and Oklahoma. So that's what we're going to be dealing with for Friday. Then we go into Saturday. Our highest risk is going to be across Oklahoma and Kansas, but a little bit of southwestern Missouri is going to get involved in this as well. This is mainly going to be during the afternoon and evening hours. So we're going to be watching that. And then again, even in the long range forecast, we do have that 30%, which is on the higher end risk across Oklahoma and Kansas. And then that even includes us here in western Missouri. But look what happens on day 5. Day 5, I'll zoom in here a little bit so you can see it a little bit closer, but Missouri, the entire state is highlighted on Monday. So this is day 5 from the Storm Prediction Center, which is Monday. So Sunday and Monday, those are the days we need to watch, but really even tomorrow and Saturday. Tonight, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every single one of them. It's just we're going to be looking at different parts of the state of Missouri each and every day. Today, pretty much everybody. Friday, it's going to be our southern counties. Saturday, it's going to be our southwestern counties. Sunday, it's going to be like our western and central counties. And then Monday is going to be our central and eastern counties. So again, it's going to be in various different locations each and every day. Again, Sunday and Monday, those are the 2 days that I am most concerned about currently with our severe weather threat. We'll continue to keep you updated here on GWP with our different live streams. So that's something that we're going to continue to be doing, especially when it gets really bad. We'll definitely be doing live streams when that does occur. All right. So let's go ahead and get an update here on our active warnings. Then we will go into a brief intermission before the top of the hour here. So tornado warnings still in effect here for Henry, Bates, and Cass counties. At 10:45, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Garden City, moving east at 50 miles per hour. And so let's just kind of go ahead and show you that here on velocities. And so, again, right in here, just to the southwest of Creighton, now moving towards Highway 6 under that tornado warning until 11 p.m. But really, this entire area is under a tornado possible tag. We're mainly concerned about straight line winds within this warning, but again, a little bit of rotation, particularly in that Bates, Cass, Henry County area, just to the west of Clinton. That's where we've got that tornado warning. But the overall area remains under a severe thunderstorm warning for straight line winds until 11:15. We also have a warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail, including Vernon and St. Clair counties, including Nevada, and so that warning goes until 11:30. Again, straight line winds are going to be our big concern. So let's go ahead and draw this out for you here. We'll make it a solid line here. It stretches from Warrensburg. That's kind of where the threat cuts off. Then it goes here, and then it goes here as well across Bates County, and then extending into northern Vernon County, and then into Kansas. Then our tornado risk that we've got is then across this area. So 60-mile-per-hour winds along this blue line and points east of there, and then in that yellow circle, that's where we have that tornadic rotation. And again, we could be looking at a possible tornado in that area. Tornado warning remains in effect for that area until 11 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15 and 11:30, depending on your location. All right, moving into a brief intermission now. This is GWP Live. All right, and we are back from our intermission. Well, my video's not, but there we go. We are back from our intermission here. This is GWP Severe Weather Coverage Live. It is Thursday, April 23rd, and we are tracking some of the ongoing storms here in the state of Missouri. It's now 11 p.m., the top of the hour, so we've now been doing this thing for about an hour, and so still watching some ongoing storms. I do have some good news. That tornado warning that we did have for Bates, Cass, and Henry counties, that has just expired. So that will soon be updating here on the radar. But the tornado warning has now expired. I would say that our tornado risk overall is pretty low across this region. So that is definitely some good news here. But we are still under a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. And so that is still something that you will want to be aware of. My recommendation when we have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, because that's kind of a difficult spot to be in, is I would be very close to your tornado shelter because you could soon go under a warning. I will say, if you are a very cautious person and you're under a tornado possible tag, you would be taking shelter. Realistically, do you need to? Probably not. But you should definitely be very close to your shelter. You should definitely be like within 3 minutes away from wherever your shelter is. If you are more than 3 minutes away from your tornado safe place and you're under a tornado possible tag, that is definitely, yes, then that can become a problem. So, just kind of my recommendation. Don't necessarily have to follow that, but that would be my recommendation is that you stay close to a tornado safe place when you're under a tornado possible tag, because again, those warnings can be updated pretty quickly, and so that's what we want to watch for here. But again, as of right now, we don't have a tornado warning in effect with this new area, so that is definitely some good news here. All right, let's start off with the new update on this warning, because we still have that tornado possible tag. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Lynn County, Kansas. That still remains. And then we've got Henry, Cass, Bates, and Johnson counties under a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15 p.m. At 10:55 p.m., severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Holden to near Creighton to 10 miles east of Butler to near Hume, moving east at 55 miles per hour. Again, our main hazards are going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. We've got a radar indicated threat. This goes from mile markers 118 to 151 on for Interstate 49. So there is also again a tornado possible tag with this warning that does include Warrensburg, Butler, and Appleton City. Those areas currently under a warning with a tornado possible tag. And then just to the south of that, in Vernon and St. Clair counties, we have a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:30 p.m. And so that goes for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail as well. That warning does not have a tornado possible tag. So again, this entire area, yellow is a bad color. I'm not saying it is in general. For this, it's a bad color. So there we go. This is our area. We'll use blue for GWP. GWP is blue. This warning right here, tornado possible tag, but again, the tornado warning has expired, but tornado possible within this line right here, a brief spin up is going to be possible. It's really for this really for this eastern part of the warning. This area, you're now in the clear. Yeah, you're in the clear. X's are good in this situation. Yeah, you're in the clear across these areas. Tornado risk is over. But if you're in this blue circle right here, there is a tornado possible tag associated with your warning. Again, there is not a tornado threat with this warning in Vernon and Vernon and St. Clair counties. Also, really our heaviest of the storms are just to the west of Fort Scott. So those will soon be moving in. Nevada, you've still got just a little bit longer before the severe storms move in, but we are starting to have some showers that are moving through that area. All right, let's go ahead and get a quick update on some other things going on here as far as severe weather goes. Wow, we've got some pretty strong storms here across northern Oklahoma right now. Yeah, some pretty strong winds out there. Ping pong ball size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's with this severe thunderstorm warning. And then within that, just to the north of Stillwater, we have a tornado warning. I mentioned that this was a suspicious area earlier, and now we have a tornado warning with that storm. There is also the threat for golf ball size hail with this warning. So, tornado and golf ball size hail within the Stillwater area. Then, to the east of there, we're also looking at some 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. And then it looks like we've also got a storm right here northwest of Stillwater. And that's for golf ball size hail, considerable threat tag with that storm. So these storms right now in northern Oklahoma are pretty severe at this point in time. In northeastern Oklahoma, including Bartlesville, these storms are a little bit weaker, but still a little bit of strong storms moving in there. Let's see. We've got 50-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. So again, still some pretty strong storms, but we're not in that severe threshold where we would be concerned about, damage or anything like that. We're not really concerned about that with those kind of impacts. And then we've just got some showers, a few rumbles of thunder across southeastern Kansas. Not a big deal. These are soon going to be moving into the Joplin area, Carthage, Lamar. Looks good as of right now, but again, we'll see if these storms strengthen. So, storms moving into the Joplin and Carthage area very soon here within the next hour or so. Also, if you are just tuning in here and you missed this earlier on, this live stream will actually be ending at around midnight. That is, unless something really major changes, but I don't anticipate that happening. Something really wild would have to happen between now and then for this to continue beyond midnight. I really think our main severe weather threat is going to be over very soon, and so that's part of it. But the other part of it is that that's pretty late for us to be continuing a live stream if we don't have active tornado warnings. But again, if there is active tornado warnings, and I should have knocked on wood after I said that because we just got a brand new warning. Okay, let's go ahead and move into that here. Again, but if at midnight we don't if at midnight we don't have anything too bad, then we will end this at midnight. But we'll see when we get to that point here. Okay, brand new tornado warning was just issued. It's not shown up on here yet, but we'll get that up there pretty soon here. This is for Henry, Pettis, and Johnson counties until 11:30 p.m. At 11:05 p.m., severe thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado were located near Yurch, or 9 miles northwest of Clinton, moving east at 55 miles per hour. Hazards include a radar indicated rotation. Some small hail within this storm is also going to be possible. Locations impacted include Windsor, Leeton, Green Ridge, Calhoun, Blairstown, Post Oak, and Hartswell. If you're in any of those areas that I just listed off, then you need to take shelter immediately in a tornado safe place because you are now under a tornado warning. This is north of Clinton, so the warning does not include Clinton. Let's find, there's Clinton, so this is the area. So this is the area where that tornado warning has just been issued for. It goes all the way to Windsor. Let's see if I can draw it since it hasn't showed up here on the radar just yet. So it looks like it goes, it's kind of at a weird angle here, but this is basically where it is. That's basically the area that's under the warning. So again, brand new tornado warning around this area. Or wait, no, that's not quite accurate. Sorry about that. The warning cuts off here. Not in this area. Clinton is not under that warning. I was like, Clinton, I don't think you're in. Yeah, so Clinton is not under the tornado warning. But Clinton is under a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. So if that means anything to you. So let's look at that new warning. So new severe thunderstorm warning for Henry, Bates, Pettis, and Johnson counties until 11:45. At 11:05 p.m., severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Warrensburg to 7 miles northeast of Creighton to near Appleton City, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Again, our main hazards are 60-mile-per-hour winds, but there is a tornado possible tag with that storm. Impact, expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Again, this is a radar indicated threat, so nothing has been confirmed at this point in time, but we are still going to be watching that. And so let's go ahead and we'll actually go to the velocities here on this storm here, kind of get an idea of what sort of rotation that we may be dealing with. So it's really kind of that same area that we were showing you just a little bit ago. It's just that now we have that warning now issued for that area. So let's go ahead and this is really our kind of broad rotation. Yeah, a little bit of broad rotation right in there. So we're going to be watching this area pretty closely. So this is, so here's Calhoun. We've got Windsor here, a couple of state highways, state highway here. We have kind of a more populated area in this area, not super populated, but a little bit more than some of the surrounding areas. We've got Clinton. Again, Clinton, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. You're not under the tornado warning. So you'll notice that's where that warning cuts off. So Clinton, you're not under a tornado warning, but just to your north, we do have that warning that does include Windsor. And so Henry County under a tornado warning, this area has already been affected numerous times by tornado warnings within just the past couple of weeks here. So yeah, so brand new tornado warning that does include Henry County, but also Johnson and Pettis County there until 11:30 p.m. Radar indicated rotation, take shelter immediately. We've also got 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. Other than that, we've got this big one to the west of the tornado warning. That goes until 11:15. So that's going to be expiring very soon. That goes for Lynn, Henry, Cass, and Bates in Johnson counties. Again, that warning will be expiring very soon at 11:15. 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail, and tornado possible tag with that warning. And then just to the east of that, including Clinton, Missouri, in the same area of the tornado warning, we also have a warning for Henry, Bates, Pettis, and Johnson counties until 11:45. And 60-mile-per-hour winds is our main concern, but we've also got that tornado possible tag within that warning. And then we've got a warning that still remains in effect for Bourbon County, Kansas, St. Clair and Vernon counties, Missouri. That's further to the south here, including the Nevada area. That goes in effect until 11:30 p.m. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. That's going to be our main concern for those areas. All right, let's show you our watches. So we no longer have our tornado watch in Kansas. So now our big concern is across southeastern Kansas and southwestern Missouri, where we have a tornado watch across this area, or excuse me, a severe thunderstorm watch. Sorry about that. Severe thunderstorm watch for the area highlighted in blue. This remains in effect until 4 a.m. Friday. So 4 a.m. and then anywhere north, so this area, further to the north, this goes until 12 a.m. unless that gets extended, which it's definitely possible, but I haven't heard anything about whether or not it will be extended. So we also do still have that tornado watch in northern Oklahoma until 1 a.m., but that will probably be expiring, I would say, within the next hour or so. So it'll probably expire early, that watch over here. But again, 4 a.m. for our southern counties, 12 a.m. midnight in our northern counties. So those ongoing severe thunderstorm watches highlighting those areas that are still at risk for severe storms. When we look here overall at the viewing area, we're going to go ahead and do some circling here. We're going to start with the still at risk circle. So let's see, it's really from that back edge here of the storm. So if you are anywhere in the red and you're in our viewing area, you are still under the risk for severe weather. So you are still at risk through the evening hours. Again, I understand it's getting very late. It's a weeknight, so a lot of people probably, if not, have already started going to bed. And so you'll want to make sure to have a way to get those alerts if you're in this red area because we're still at risk. If you are in the blue and you're in our viewing area, you are safe. Kansas City, you're good to go. And then anywhere just south of Kansas City is also good to go. So if you're in the red, you've still got a severe weather risk. If you're in the blue, then you are safe for the rest of this evening. So that's kind of our safe area. This is our area where we're still at risk for severe storms throughout this evening. And I would say that Joplin is safe. I thought we were for a minute there, but some storms have started to re-strengthen across that area. So we're going to be watching those very closely. Uh, One of the reasons I said that here is we've had some rain kind of ahead of the leading edge of the storms, and usually that's an indication these storms are weakening here, but it's not always. It's not a very good indication. Usually, the best indication in this situation is once the line of storms has moved through, usually our severe weather risk is over in this situation. So really, that's really the best way for you to know whether or not we've still got that risk. All right, let's go ahead and look here at the latest update on our storms here. First, whoops. Okay. All right. Nevada, still you have not gotten into these storms. These are not looking super impressive here. North of Fort Scott, north of Nevada, nothing looking too bad at this point. So I would not be surprised if these warnings expired pretty soon here. This one actually already has. The new one for Fort Scott and Nevada, that still remains in effect. In fact, let's go ahead. So again, that warning has expired. Also, Bates County, Cass County, you are now in the clear. I just saw an update. All of this area is no longer under a warning. So this map will update pretty soon, but all of those areas that I just highlighted are no longer under a warning. So that's really good. Okay, nothing new on our tornado warning, but let's go to the velocities and we'll see if we can see anything, because sometimes on the radar we can see things before they're able to update it. There is a processing error. They're looking at this information, they're trying to process it, and then they're trying to bring updates to these warnings. So let's see where we're at here. Still nothing too bad. I think we're still good. I do not suspect that we have a tornado. I currently do not think we have a tornado on the ground with this storm. I think we're good as of right now. Now, what I do think is happening, and this would not be a surprise at all, I think we're getting some very strong winds in this area. So still make sure to take shelter, get away from windows. That's definitely probably your best course of action here if you're along that line. So there's that line that we're concerned about here. Shawnee Mound, Calhoun, Windsor, Leeton, those areas are under this tornado warning. So again, make sure to get into your tornado safe place if you have not done so yet. So again, please do that there, because even though it doesn't look like we have a tornado on the ground at this time, but that's the key, is not at this time. We haven't so far, but again, something could begin to strengthen. If that rotation were to tighten a little bit, that would likely result in a funnel cloud, and then that could reach the ground. So that's what we're going to be watching for. All right, let's get a few other updates on a few things that we haven't looked at here in a while. Power outages. Missouri does lead the nation in power outages. Like when we look at each and individual state, Missouri has the most, but really that's not saying a lot. Missouri's only at 6,200 people. And that sounds like a lot, but that really isn't a lot of people when you think about it this way. There is 2.9 million customers with power in the state of Missouri, and only 6,200 are without power. That's pretty good overall. But we do have, it looks like Bates County. Yeah, Bates County is at 1,100 outages. So we're struggling a little bit in Bates County. Jackson County, and then Ray County and Clay County, that's where we have most of our outages. So again, we did have some 60-mile-per-hour winds across that area. So a few areas are without power, but as of right now, nothing major. 6,200 customers in the state of Missouri are without power. The second most outages is California at 4,200. Kansas is at 3,900. And then a couple of other states are on the list that have also had severe weather tonight, like Oklahoma is at 3,400. Texas is at 3,400. Wisconsin, we've had some storms there, 3,100 there. So overall, we're at 43,601 customers without power. Multiply that times 3 people per customer. That's about 150,000 people without power. So not too bad. Obviously it could be better, but considering that we are in the middle of a severe weather night, that's not too bad as far as power outages go. Realistically, that's pretty good. So that's where we're at on that here. Let's get an update on our storm reports. So that was from poweroutage.com. That's where I got that information from. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. Let's see if we have any new updates. Okay. No tornado reports, at least not in our area. So that's good. Hail reports. I'm not seeing anything too big. Kansas City, we had some quarter size hail. We also okay, Butler, Missouri had golf ball size hail. Okay, that's a little bit on the higher side. And yes, so we had some, excuse me, that is in Kansas. Okay, so I was seeing Butler in Kansas. Butler, Kansas had golf ball size hail. I'm sorry, I don't think that's right. So yes, we had a few reports though of some quarter size hail in and around Kansas City. Looks like that was at 9:02 p.m. So that was quite a while ago. We haven't had any recent reports there. Okay, and then a barn was destroyed in Lynn County. And then Kearney, there was some tree limbs down. And again, as we mentioned earlier, there was part of an unstructured, or yeah, there was part of a building that was destroyed from the winds that we had in and around Kansas City, around Kearney. So, but as of new severe weather reports, not a whole lot here in the state of Missouri. Everything that I'm seeing is either old stuff or is in another state. So that is good here in the state of Missouri. So, all right, let's go ahead and see if we can update this velocity here. Okay, we got a 1118 here. So again, still a little bit of rotation around Shawnee Mill, west of Windsor. So here's Windsor, and then here's where we've got a little bit of rotation. It is starting to tighten a little bit, so that is a little bit concerning. As of right now, yeah, still nothing too significant at this time. Here's the latest update. At 11:16, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Leeton, which is right here. So right in that area that we've got circled. And then 9 miles north of Clinton. Clinton's right here. There's our rotation. And then moving east at 55 miles per hour. So if you're in Calhoun, if you're in Windsor, Shawnee Mound, or Leeton, if you're in any of those areas, take shelter immediately because there is going to be a tornado. There is going to be a tornado possible across that area. Tornado warning that does remain in effect for that area for the next 8 minutes there. Okay, we just got some new information. The warning in Vernon County, in Vernon and Bourbon counties are no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. So again, the last time we looked at the radar, we weren't really seeing anything that impressive. So it's really not surprising that these warnings are going to be dropped. So at this point in time, Nevada, you're in the clear. So again, that's definitely good news there. Some pretty strong storms south of there, so we're going to need to watch these. They're now moving into the Pittsburgh area. Here's Lamar, so these storms are going to be moving in. And then this one is west of Joplin. This does have a severe thunderstorm warning, and that goes for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we are going to be watching that very closely. All right, we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued, so let's get to that here. Here it is. It's to the south and east of our tornado warning. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This goes for Hickory, Benton, and St. Clair counties until midnight. So again, Hickory, Benton, and St. Clair counties under a brand new severe thunderstorm warning until midnight. At 11:17 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from near Leeton to near Deepwater to near Shell City, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and nickel-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. There is not a tornado possible tag with this warning. So this new warning for Hickory, Benton, and St. Clair counties, our main threat is going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds. So that is what we're dealing with there. Newly issued warning that remains in effect. All right. Bates County, you are in the clear. Vernon County, you are in the clear. Bourbon County, you are in the clear. Areas that are not in, or okay, looks like we've got, yeah, so we've still, okay, so we've still got the warning, including Hickory County, Benton County, Henry County, St. Clair County, and then Pettis County. Those counties are still at risk for severe storms. Everywhere else is currently not under a warning, or if you were under a warning, you no longer are under that risk. All right, let's go to velocities on our tornado warning. Again, we still do have a tornado warning in effect for Henry, Pettis, and Johnson counties. The latest update was at 11:16. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Leeton, 9 miles north of Clinton. So that was at 11:16 p.m. This goes until 11:30. So again, tornado warning remains in effect for the next 5 minutes for those counties, and that includes Leeton and Windsor. It's north of Clinton. So, Clinton, you're not under that warning, but it's to the north of there. And again, we are still looking at a little bit of rotation in here, just to the north of Calhoun, moving towards Windsor. So, if this were to produce a tornado, that storm would be moving towards the Windsor area. And so that's why you should take shelter across those areas. So, reading some new information here. Yes, okay. An important note that was put on one of these warnings that I forgot to mention, the areas that we mentioned where the warnings expired, you still could get some, some heavy rain, some thunderstorms, maybe even a few gusts of wind. It's just it's below severe limits. So I want to really clarify that if there was any confusion. We're not saying that there's not going to be strong storms. We are still going to have some pretty loud, heavy thunderstorms across the area, but they are not severe for the areas that we've talked about. So again, I just really want to make that clear is that there's a very big distinction between a warning has expired and it's moved out of the area. For some of these areas, it's moved out of the area. For others, the warning has just expired, but the threat still remains. All right, well, we're now going to move into another brief intermission. We will return at the bottom of the hour in just 3 minutes. All right, and so we are back here on GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage. So it is Thursday evening here. It's now just a little bit past 11:30 on this Thursday evening on April 23rd. And so we still got a couple of active warnings here across the state of Missouri, but we do have some good news in the last couple of minutes here. Our tornado warning that we did have has now expired. That tornado warning north of Clinton has now expired, so that is some good news. We do still have some pretty strong storms that are blowing through the Clinton area now. Winds are getting involved in this as well, and our severe thunderstorm warning still has a tornado possible tag. So we do want you to be aware that this storm could strengthen again, and then we could be back in that situation. But as of right now, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, which really I probably shouldn't say just a severe thunderstorm warning because we do still have a wind risk and a possible tornado threat as well. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect till 11:45 for Pettis and Johnson counties till and Henry counties as well until 11:45. The latest update was at 11:30. Severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from Knob Noster to near Leeton to near Deepwater, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. And again, there also is a tornado possible tag with this particular warning. And again, this remains in effect until 11:45. So let's go ahead and go to the velocities and see where we're at. So not nearly as strong a rotation as what we had earlier, but again, near Windsor, still a little bit of rotation. So we're going to be watching that very closely in the coming moments here, really the next few minutes there across that area. So Windsor, you're still under that risk for strong straight line winds and then possibly a tornado as well. And again, those straight line winds go all the way down to Tightwad, just to the east of Clinton, and they're going to continue moving eastward here. Here's Warsaw, where we had that tornado just less than a week ago. And then we've also got Lincoln north of Warsaw under this warning. Here's US 65. So US 65 is going to get involved in these storms pretty soon. And then here's our straight line damaging winds. So again, along this line right here, that's where we're going to be looking at the possibility of some 60-mile-per-hour winds. So winds are going to be a concern here just to the west of US 65, south of Sedalia, including Clinton and Warsaw, under those continuing severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, the northern warning goes until 11:45 for a tornado possible tag, and then the one across Warsaw, that southern warning, goes until midnight, and that includes Hickory, Benton, and St. Clair counties, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, that warning until midnight. We did have severe warnings across the Nevada area. Those have now expired, even though it doesn't show that here. That warning has expired in Nevada, so that is good. I'll switch over back to there it is. So again, we do still have some showers and some thunderstorms moving through Nevada and Fort Scott, but these storms are no longer severe thunderstorm warned. So Nevada and Fort Scott, things are looking very good. I'm going to give you a thumbs. Well, my thumb will appear on camera and not disappear in the background. I will give you a thumbs up there across that area. So that's good. We did have a special weather statement issued. Basically, what a special weather statement is a strong thunderstorm. That's essentially what it is. It's nothing that's going to cause any major damage, but again, it's something that can cause minor damage. That's what I would compare it. It's minor versus moderate damage. Severe. Again, minor versus severe. That's the comparison. A special weather statement is for minor damage. So that's what we're looking at here. That special weather statement goes for Jasper and Barton counties in Missouri. So this area, we're looking at 50 to 55-mile-per-hour wind gust, and then maybe some nickel-size hail. So here's what kind of impacts we're looking at. Again, this is nothing that's super concerning. Gusty winds could knock down a few tree limbs and blow around some outdoor objects. That's basically what we're looking at. Minor hail damage to vegetation, and then you could have a few dents in your vehicle, but it's not going to shatter windows. It's not going to put huge holes through your window. We're just talking about minor, little bitty, kind of little dinks in the top of your car. That's what we're talking about. So nothing that's going to total your car. No, we're not dealing with any of that. So that's good across that area. We do still have one severe thunderstorm warning for Labette County until midnight. So these storms are going to be making their way into Joplin. They'll probably weaken below severe limits once they make it to Joplin. But again, we'll still watch that area very closely just in case these storms do strengthen. Okay, we also just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued in northeastern Oklahoma. So this is now just to the southwest of Joplin, and this goes for 60-mile-per-hour winds. We've got quite a few different areas that are going to be impacted by this, including Miami, Oklahoma, and Bonita. And our main threat with these is going to be some straight line damaging winds. Yeah, right in here, right along that line. Just to the west of Miami, Oklahoma. Straight line damaging winds are going to be possible, upwards of 60 miles per hour. That includes Veneta. We've also got Miami as well. This goes all the way to the Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas border. So that's what we're looking at here. Newly issued warning in northeastern Oklahoma, just to the southwest of Joplin. So it's like we've got a little bit of rotation in there. That's not a big deal. Nothing too strong yet. Well, okay, that's something we need to watch right here. A little bit of rotation west of Columbus that I'm watching. It was a little bit stronger actually just a minute ago. Right there, it was a little bit stronger. Still need to watch that here. Little area there, just west of Pittsburgh. But again, Fort Scott in Nevada, not seeing anything at this time. Everything's looking very good in Fort Scott and Nevada. Some pretty strong storms. It's definitely going to be loud across that area, but nothing as far as winds go. But I am still watching this storm right here in Pittsburgh. This one could produce some strong winds. Right now, it's below severe limits, but it's still something we're going to watch. That's the one that we're mainly concerned about in this area. All right, let's go back into our northern counties because we do still have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, and one of them does have a tornado possible tag. So let's get the latest on our warning here. So again, still a little bit of rotation north of Windsor. Go ahead and highlight that here. So still a little bit of rotation north of Windsor, and we've got some very strong gusty winds as well. So that's something we're going to be watching for. Severe thunderstorm warning in Windsor remains in effect until 11:45. The warning that goes for Warsaw, just to the southeast of there, that one goes until midnight. So those areas under that risk for severe thunderstorm warnings, or that's where we've got the severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's go north here. Sweet Springs, some pretty strong storms just to your east. We've got Ridge Prairie, so those storms are going to be moving through. Boonville, we're starting to get some rain and moving into that area. Still clear in Columbia. Jefferson City still looks good. Storms are starting to move into Sedalia, so you're still at risk. The Lake of the Ozarks is going to be next in line in the next few hours. So that's the area that we're going to be watching next for the possibility of some severe storms. So that's what we're looking at right now. So nothing too significant at this point in time, but still something we want to watch for here on GWP Live. All right, well, here is a look at that radar. Again, a couple of warnings still in effect. This is GWP Live. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on our live coverage. All right, this is GWP Live's ongoing severe weather coverage here. It is Thursday, April 23rd, now into the evening. We're quarter till midnight, and we are still tracking some ongoing storms that are severe across the state of Missouri. And so, as I mentioned previously, if there wasn't anything too significant going on, we would end this live stream around midnight. As of right now, I do anticipate that we might go just a little bit past midnight, but I think that by, I would say 1 a.m. would be the absolute latest. But I would say probably somewhere between midnight and 1 a.m. is where we will be ending this live stream. So that's what I'm expecting as of right now. But I will say we have had a weakening trend in some of these storms, and so that could speed that up just a little bit. All right, before we get into the new warnings, I just wanted to update our areas of concern here. So the red areas, that's going to highlight anywhere where we still have a severe weather threat. So there, all the way to here. So this is just for our viewing area. That's where our severe weather threat remains in effect. If you're anywhere in this red area, you are still at risk for some ongoing storms. If you are anywhere outside of this red area, your severe weather threat is now over for this evening. So that, of course, is some good news. But if you are in this red area, you are technically still at risk for severe storms. I will say within this area, the main areas that I'm concerned about are, we'll do this one in a different color. Let's say we'll do this one in pink here. Okay, pink. The main areas that I would be concerned about are kind of this, really this zone in here. And then I guess kind of this area as well. So really the main areas that I think if we were, I mean, Nevada, you're still in the red area, but I would say as of right now, I'm pretty confident we're doing pretty good across that area. Along US 54, Lake of the Ozarks, most of this area should be clear, but still watching that area. And then this area in southwest Missouri, I'm mainly focused on this grouping of thunderstorms right here. As this moves into southwestern Missouri, some of those could strengthen, and so that's where I think most of our severe weather is going to be in the short term here. All right, we just had a new warning issued for Sedalia, so new severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go to this one here. This goes for Sedalia. This is for Pettis County in Missouri, newly issued severe thunderstorm warning until 12:15 a.m. At 11:37 a.m. or no, at 11:37 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located over Green Ridge or near Windsor, moving east at 50 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. So the hail threat has gone down quite a bit. But 60-mile-per-hour winds are still going to be possible in Pettis County in Sedalia until 12:15. We're looking at damage to roof sidings and trees are going to be possible. Locations under this new warning include Sedalia, Windsor, as well as Green Ridge, Smithton as well. Also, just a quick update, the severe thunderstorm warning in Clinton, this one right here, has now expired. That severe thunderstorm warning is gone. We do still have a warning for Benton, St. Clair, counties until midnight for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So 60-mile-per-hour winds, we no longer have a tornado possible tag. That threat has gone away for now. And if we look here at the velocities, nothing really super strong that there is to mention here. We did have that rotation earlier across this area, but we're no longer really seeing that as much as we did earlier. Still looking at some pretty strong winds around Lincoln and Warsaw, so would not be surprised if we had some damage in Lincoln and Warsaw in the next 10 or 20 minutes, but still watching those storms very closely. All right, so we've got those storms ongoing across St. Clair and Benton counties. And then again, we've also now got Pettis County and Sedalia under these new warnings as well. So this one goes until midnight, and then the new one for Sedalia goes until 12:15. But again, overall, the severe weather risk is lower than it has been. Still watching some strong storms in southwestern Missouri here, moving into Nevada. Some small hail is going to be possible out of some of these storms, but nothing too significant. Really, the only warnings that we have are across southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. These will soon be moving into the Joplin area. 60-mile-per-hour winds is going to be the primary hazard with these storms in northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. All right, our storms in northern Oklahoma are still pretty strong here north of Stillwater. We're still watching these storms. Ping pong ball size hail is going to be possible with the storms in Stillwater. And then this warning just to the northwest of Tulsa, that just expired. But this warning to the west of there goes for ping pong ball size hail. So we're still watching that. And then just to say we did, let's go ahead and travel to eastern Iowa. Well, we won't physically travel there, but we'll travel there on the radar. And we do still have a tornado warning for Cedar County in Iowa, far eastern Iowa, until midnight. That is currently the only. Yes, that is currently. I don't want to say anything too inaccurate here. That is the only tornado warning that we currently have in the country. That's the only warning. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good that we're down to one warning. We still have 4 flash flood warnings, 9 severe thunderstorm warnings, and 1 tornado warning. So that is what our current alerts are. Again, the storms in Iowa, those are starting to weaken, but we've still got those. Just had a new warning issued for Davenport. In Davenport, Iowa, new severe thunderstorm warning. My guess is it'll have a tornado possible tag. I don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing. And yes, there's a tornado possible tag. Interstate 74, 80, 88, and 280. Davenport, Iowa, now under a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. So if you're in any of those areas or you know anybody up there, might want to give them a buzz. Some pretty strong storms are about to move in. So again, quick call would not be a bad idea. Also, heavy rain and flooding. That's another threat that we've been watching tonight. We still have an ongoing flash flood warning in the Kansas City metro area. That remains in effect until 4:15. And no flood reports yet, at least from what I'm looking at, but still something we're going to be watching. There also is a flood advisory for the northern half of Kansas City, a little bit of a lesser threat, but still something that we're going to be watching there. Flood advisory until 2 a.m. for the Kansas City area. Okay. So, yes, that is what we're currently dealing with. So, again, still some pretty strong 2 severe thunderstorms ongoing here across the area. A couple of warnings around Sedalia. These storms will be lifting towards Lake of the Ozarks, Jefferson City, and Columbia within about the next hour, and then they will start to make their way towards Joplin as well in the next half hour or so. So, that's where we're currently at. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to look at we're going to go back and we're going to look at some of the other weather going on across the country. Then we're going to show you your forecast over the next few days. Okay, so we're going to give you kind of a preview of this weekend. Then we're going to come back. We're going to see if we have anything new. And then we're going to go to our intermission. And then we'll resume here at midnight. And that's when the decision will be made to continue this or not. So we'll make that decision based on what we have going on here in just a few minutes. So let's start off by going to the weather alerts across the country. So again, tornado watch in northern Oklahoma until 1 a.m. Southern Missouri into Oklahoma and Kansas, tornado watch until 4 a.m. And then midnight across Iowa. And again, we do have some ongoing tornado concerns across eastern Iowa, northwestern Illinois. Red flag warnings remain for Colorado, fire weather watches in New Mexico and Texas. So we've just had that ongoing fire threat the last couple of days. That's going to be continuing. And then even some winter weather, as we mentioned earlier, here across Wyoming and into Montana as well. All right, let's go back to the weather story from the National Weather Service in Springfield. Again, some of our viewing area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 4 a.m. Our main concern tonight is going to be some straight line damaging winds, but some small hail and tornadoes, or some small hail and a couple of tornadoes are also going to be possible. Okay, and Okay, here is that severe weather threat. So again, our western counties, really the areas that we've already had the severe storms, that's where we're under that slight severe weather risk. Also, I don't know that I've mentioned this previously, but these severe weather outlooks, some of you might be wondering, well, if what happens after midnight? Do we switch to the next day of severe weather outlook? So these severe weather outlooks, they reset at 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time. 7 a.m. That's when these update. So at 7 a.m., this severe weather outlook will no longer be in effect. But tonight's severe weather outlook technically goes until 7 a.m. the following day. So that's how the schedule runs. It goes from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m., a 24-hour period. And so that is so that we constantly have a severe weather risk somewhere. That outlook goes constantly. It's never ending. It goes from 7 to 7, and then at 7 a.m., it resets for the next day. And then it continues until the next 7 a.m. And so just kind of something that I wanted to kind of a quick note on that. So again, in fact, it actually says that here. Yeah, till 7 a.m. the following day, April 24th. So again, severe weather risk for tonight until 7 a.m. But again, realistically, it's probably going to be over in about an hour. But again, slight risk across our western counties. That's a 2 out of 5 on the Storm Prediction Center scale. And then we've also got that marginal risk, which is a 1 out of 5 across our central and eastern counties. That's where our risk is a little bit less. All right, let's go into tomorrow's SPC outlook. So, tomorrow's SPC outlook, this goes from 7 a.m. tomorrow until 7 a.m. Saturday. So, again, that's what I mean. It's a 24-hour continuous cycle from 7 a.m. Just remember 7 a.m. And so, this is going to be along and south of Interstate 44. And this is mainly going to be for thunderstorms during the afternoon hours. We are going to have some thunderstorms left over from tonight into the morning hours. That's not really what we're concerned about. Our main severe weather risk is going to be along and south of Interstate 44, not because of our morning storms, but because of those afternoon thunderstorms that are going to develop. Now, if showers and cloud cover remain during the morning, that's going to limit our energy in the atmosphere. And that means that our severe weather threat is going to be lower. So if it's cloudy in the morning, that's a really good sign. That means that our storms are unlikely to develop. Tomorrow is going to be the lowest severe weather risk out of any of the days over the next several days. So Friday is really going to be your best day for outdoor planning, especially north of Interstate 44. South of Interstate 44, including Joplin and Springfield, you're under that marginal risk. But even for those areas, it's very dependent on those storms tonight. So we're going to be watching that. Then on Saturday and Sunday, and even into Monday, our severe weather threat is going to be a little bit higher. We have a slight risk across Nevada and Joplin for our southwestern counties. That's a 2 out of 5, even a 3 out of 5 west of here. So that's something we're watching. And then Sunday, we've got a low to moderate risk. Now, something I want to point out about these outlooks on Sunday, we're talking 4 days out. Anytime we're talking more than 3 days out, there's a lot of uncertainty. Also, I want to point out that the level orange risk across Kansas and Oklahoma, that's the highest risk on an extended outlook. In other words, what that means is that when we're 4 days out, that's the highest severe weather risk that can be issued from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, that's not to say that it will be our highest severe weather threat, but it is to say that there is pretty high confidence going into Sunday that we will have severe weather in Oklahoma and Kansas. Some of that will cross over into the state of Missouri. And then even beyond that, when we look at your Monday severe weather outlook, we have that orange risk across the state of Missouri. That's considered the 30% category. So again, what we're trying to show you is the severe weather threat will increase pretty much each and every day in leading up to Sunday and Monday. Our severe weather threat we have tonight, and then we have tomorrow, which is mainly going to be south. Saturday, it ramps up a little bit, but especially on Sunday and next Monday, that's going to be our highest risk for some of these severe storms. So it's not just what we're dealing with right now, it's what we're going to be dealing with very soon. All right, nothing new to show you, so we'll just go ahead and we'll show you this radar here, and we'll go into a brief intermission. We will return here at the top of the hour at midnight. All right, and welcome back to GWP Live's severe weather coverage. It is Thursday night here. Well, it's actually now Friday morning. It is now 12 a.m., so we have now hit the midnight hour, and we are tracking some ongoing storms here across the state of Missouri. Couple of ongoing severe warnings, including Warsaw and Sedalia, Missouri, across our northwestern counties, now starting to move into really our central counties at this point. And so, still got a couple of warnings that we're going to be watching very closely. Again, Sedalia, looking at those 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's going to be our big threat there in Sedalia. We're also tracking some other storms across the country. We've got a tornado warning just to the north of Davenport, Iowa. So, if you know of anybody that's there, or if you're there, might want to give them a call there across that area. Let them know that there is a tornado possible, particularly north of Davenport. Davenport, you're good at this point, but just to the north of that, that's where we're going to be looking at that tornado warning. So we've got that ongoing. And then we've got our warning for Sedalia. And then we just had at the bottom or at the top of the hour here, we just had a warning issued for Joplin. So yes, Joplin has just gone under a warning. So it's from these strong winds that we've been dealing with here in Oklahoma and Kansas, now crossing over into the state line, including there in Joplin. So here's the new warning. Severe thunderstorm warning issued for Newton and Jasper counties in Missouri. This goes until 12:45 a.m. At 11:59 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located over Baxter Springs, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and nickel-sized hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. Our locations that are going to be impacted by this storm include Joplin, Carthage, Webb City, Carl Junction, Galena, Oronogo, Carterville, Duquesne, Diamond, as well as Airport Drive, Silver Springs, Carytown, and a few others. This includes Interstates 44 between mile markers 0 and 23. So again, you'll want to move away from windows as objects could become debris and then could break through those windows, and so that's why it's dangerous to be near windows. So let's go ahead and so again, newly issued rather for the Joplin area. This includes Carthage, Carl Junction, Webb City, and Joplin under this new severe thunderstorm warning for for southern Jasper and northwestern Newton County. Most of Newton County is not under the warning. It's really just this southern portion, or excuse me, just this northern portion along Interstate 44. That's where we're under this severe thunderstorm warning. So, newly issued warning for the Joplin area, 60-mile-per-hour winds. That is going to be our primary concern. So, all right, let's go ahead and back up here to the national radar. Um, so there it is. Again, straight line damaging winds moving into the Joplin area. 12:45 is when that warning expires. And then we also have an additional area of thunderstorms that we're tracking. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for this goes for Pettis County and Sedalia until 12:15. At 11:54 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located near Sedalia, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail are going to be possible. Again, Sedalia, you are in line for these storms. Also, just a quick update on our watches here. We no longer have a severe thunderstorm watch in northern Missouri. So that watch has now been allowed to expire. So that's some of the recent updates that we've had. All of our watches in Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin have also expired, but we are still tracking those storms around the Davenport area, but the watches have expired. And then again, we still have a severe thunderstorm watch for northeastern Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, southwest Missouri, and northwestern Arkansas until 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. And then we have northern Oklahoma still under a tornado watch until 1 a.m. So again, the yellow area is a tornado watch until 1, the pink area, severe thunderstorm until 4 a.m. So that's what we're dealing with right now here across the area. So still tracking some ongoing severe thunderstorms that have overall been on a weakening trend, but still we've got some active warnings at this time, including some of our counties in the Joplin area, straight line damaging winds, and then we've got Sedalia. So Sedalia in Joplin under severe thunderstorm warnings for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That is the primary hazard. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to scan different areas across our viewing area. Before we do that, though, I want to highlight the areas that are safe for tonight. Okay, so if you are anywhere in the red, you are still at risk for severe weather. So that's our area. So anywhere in this red area, severe weather risk remains in effect. Okay, and then if you're in the blue circle, kind of a weird circle, but if you're in the blue, your severe weather risk is over. If you're in the red, you technically still have a severe weather risk. And I put a very big emphasis on technically because as of right now, the only storms that are severe are in this pink area and then this pink area. Realistically, I've been looking at these storms here on a few different radars, we're looking pretty good here across this area. Not concerned about US 54. Let me list off some locations that could still see severe weather, but I don't anticipate to. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to clear out these drawings. Let me just show you some areas that I'm pretty good. Nevada, pretty confident that we're going to be good there. Lamar, looks like you're good. Few strong gusty winds possible. Stockton Lake, you're looking pretty good. Hermitage, Wabalo, Cross Timbers, El Dorado Springs, all of those areas I just mentioned look pretty good. Springfield, we'll have to see how far north these severe storms make it. It's possible that Springfield gets involved. Not too concerned at this time. Lebanon looks pretty good. Lake of the Ozarks looks pretty good. Rolla looks good. We'll watch for Jefferson City and Columbia. Those areas still could get some pretty strong storms. But realistically, everywhere else looking pretty good here just after the midnight hour. But we do still have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that remain in effect across the area. All right. Well, we are now going to move into another brief intermission. All right, and so we are back after a brief intermission here, and I have looked over quite a few things during that brief intermission, and I believe we are going to go ahead and end the live stream. I did mention that that would happen around midnight. As of right now, I don't see anything that's really that concerning. We do have two severe thunderstorm warnings for the area, but as of right now, radar indicate it, and based on what I'm looking at, I don't have any reason to believe that we are experiencing any severe winds with those storms. So even though we have a warning, I don't have any reason to believe that we actively have a threat at this time. If you are still under those warnings in Joplin and Sedalia, make sure to take them very seriously. We'll be watching to see if there's any strengthening, but as of right now, we're looking fairly good. I would say probably within the next hour, we'll pretty much be clear of our severe weather threat. These storms will last through the next several hours, but again, the overall big severe weather threat that we had, well, we didn't really ever have a huge severe weather threat, but I guess the moderate, or I guess kind of that medium risk that we had earlier today has now really backed off quite a bit. And it is for that reason that we're going to go ahead and end the live stream. Again, if you weren't in those areas that I said were clear, make sure that you keep your phone on so that you can get those wireless emergency alerts if necessary from the government. I don't anticipate anybody getting those wireless emergency alerts tonight. I don't think that's going to happen, but still keep them on. That's definitely the safe thing to do on a night where we are dealing with some strong to severe storms. Again, tomorrow's severe weather threat is going to be to the south of us, but on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, severe weather risk will be present, and we will be breaking that all down for you tomorrow afternoon in your GWP weekly recap. Well, until then, that is it for us tonight here on GWP's severe weather coverage. Have a great evening. Keep your phones on.